Christie Di Lemme coming to you from Ocean Ridge, Florida today. We had a couple of showings down here today, and then we had some other showings and met with some other wonderful people today here in South Florida, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But wanted to tell you about one particular gentleman we met with today, and it brings everything into perspective for our business. I'm just going to move down here a little bit. We met with a gentleman today who unfortunately was diagnosed with an illness, and he is preparing for the end of his life, which means he has to be prepared to sell his real estate. He doesn't want to leave that, he called, a burden on his children, so he has asked me and John to assist him with selling his real estate. There's just a little bit of noise behind me on the other end, so that's why I turned around. So we met with this gentleman today, like I said, and it's a very hard conversation. He's resolved to, the end of his life is near. Definitely puts things into perspective. I was just thinking about him today because he's still so joyful and so thankful for his family and his friends, and he's just so sensible about everything. And I was just questioning whether that I could do that. I mean, the amount of strength that takes and resolve. So John and I sit there and we listen to him talk about his life and talk about his children, and how this was just going to be so great for him, that we're helping him sell his property before he passes, and then also we put something in place if he passes before we do get the property sold. So these were tough discussions, obviously, but once again, on this beautiful South Florida day, it just puts things in a whole new perspective. And I believe, every now and then we need that. We need that as human beings, to hear the struggles that someone else is going through, especially something like that. I mean, this beautiful man is preparing for the end of his life, and he's having these uplifting conversations with me and John, and just so thankful that we're assisting him. And I wanted to, when I did, we thanked him for really choosing us to be in such a position to serve him in his last days, of leading just a wonderful, wonderful life, and just something that we're so humbled to do for him. So just lastly, I would encourage you to think outside your own troubles, think outside of what's going on around you, and think of others out there that are doing exactly what he's doing, maybe preparing to leave or going through something very difficult, and they would give anything to be in our position. He just said, I would give anything just to have a few more years, and he maybe has a few months, if that. So just wanted to encourage you, but also enlighten you, so we can also be humbled by what this man is going through, and remove ourselves from our own circumstances, and really look outside of ourselves and know how blessed we are, know how fortunate we are to be walking around and have many, many days ahead of us. So here in South Florida on this beautiful day, hope you're enjoying your day wherever you are. Talk soon.